Yo, what's up everyone? Today, we're diving into meme fruits and ranking every fruit in the game from D tier all the way to S tier. Whether you're looking for the most overpowered fruits or just trying to see which ones are straight up terrible, we've got you covered. If you've ever wondered which fruits will help you dominate, which ones are mid, and which ones you should never waste your time on, this is the video for you. We'll be going over each fruit's strengths, weaknesses, and overall power level, so you know exactly which ones to use and which ones to avoid. Some of these fruits are absolute game changers, making you nearly unstoppable in battle, while others, well, let's just say they exist for the memes. No matter what kind of player you are, this tier list will help you make the best choice for your next fruit. But before we get started, make sure to drop a like. Let's try to hit 100 likes. It really helps out, and if you enjoy meme fruits content, subscribe so you don't miss out on future tier lists, guides, and more. Comment below, what do you think is the most broken fruit in meme fruits? I want to see what you all think, and who knows, your pick might just make it onto the list. Alright, let's get into the meme fruits fruit tier list. D tier, the worst fruits in meme fruits. These are the fruits that struggle to keep up with the rest. Whether they have low damage, bad abilities, or are just outclassed by other fruits, these are the ones you'll want to avoid unless you're playing for fun. Rock the rock fruit is exactly what it sounds like, you throw rocks. And while that might sound funny, it's not very effective. The damage is low, the hitbox is small, and there's nothing special about it compared to other fruits with better ranged attacks. If you're using this fruit, you're basically throwing pebbles at your enemies while they hit you with way stronger abilities. It's just not worth it. Water. At first glance, you'd think water would be decent, considering how dangerous water is to fruit users in other games. But in meme fruits, this fruit is a complete joke. The attacks are weak, and there's nothing unique about it. While other elemental fruits like ice, flame, or dark bring cool effects to the fight, water just exists with no real impact. It's easily one of the worst choices. Moai. Yes, the Moai fruit is a meme, but in terms of actual usefulness? It's garbage. The only thing it really does is spawn a giant Moai head, which might be funny at first, but doesn't help in combat at all. It's purely for the meme factor, and if you're trying to actually win fights, you should stay far away from this one. Potato. The potato fruit is another joke fruit, and unfortunately, that means it's terrible for combat. The main ability is just throwing potatoes, which don't do much damage and don't have any useful effects. Compared to something like dough or flame, which have high damage and great combos, potato is completely useless in a serious fight. Why these fruits are D tier: low damage output, they don't hit hard enough to be viable. Weak or useless abilities, most of their moves are either joke abilities or just worse versions of better fruits. No real advantages, other fruits simply do their job better in every way. If you're playing for fun, these fruits might give you a laugh. But if you actually want to win fights and progress in the game, you should avoid these at all costs. C tier, below average fruits in meme fruits. C tier fruits are not completely useless, but they're still not great either. These fruits have some potential, but their damage, abilities, or overall effectiveness hold them back. They might be fun to use, but they're simply outclassed by stronger fruits in combat. If you're using one of these, you'll need skill and strategy to keep up with players using A or S tier fruits. Smoke. The smoke fruit has some cool effects, but when it comes to actual damage and utility, it falls short. Its attacks have decent range, but the hitboxes are inconsistent, and the damage is weak compared to other elemental fruits like flame or dark. One of its biggest issues is that the moves feel too slow. Enemies can easily dodge or counterattack before your abilities land. This fruit isn't completely terrible, but it's outclassed in every way by better elemental fruits. If you're using smoke, you'll need to rely on spacing and play defensively, but even then, you'll be at a disadvantage. Bomb. The bomb fruit is another one that seems powerful at first, but has some serious flaws. Explosions are usually strong in other games, but in meme fruits, bomb's abilities are too predictable and lack versatility. The damage output is average, and while some of the moves have decent AoE, area of effect, they're easy to dodge or block. One of bomb's biggest weaknesses is its lack of combo potential. Stronger fruits like dough or light allow players to chain moves together, but bomb is mostly a one-and-done fruit. You throw an attack, and if it misses, you're left vulnerable. This makes it hard to keep pressure on your opponents, which is a huge disadvantage in fights. Newbie. The newbie fruit is exactly what it sounds like, a fruit that beginners might find amusing, but overall, it doesn't hold up in combat. While it does have some funny animations and quirky effects, the actual moveset lacks power and speed. The damage is better than joke fruits like moai or potato, which is why it's not in D tier, but it still doesn't compare to fruits in higher tiers. If you're just messing around and having fun, newbie is a fun choice, but in serious fights, you're going to struggle against better fruits. Why these fruits are C tier? They have basic functionality. Unlike D tier fruits, these ones at least have some combat viability. Lack of versatility. They don't have great combos, mobility, or utility that could make them more useful. Easily countered by stronger fruits, players using A or S tier fruits will have a clear advantage over you. If you're using a C tier fruit, you can still fight, but you'll need to play smart and work around your fruit's weaknesses. However, if you get the chance to switch to a better fruit, you definitely should. B tier, decent but not the best. B tier fruits are solid choices that can hold their own in fights, but they lack the power or versatility to be considered top tier. These fruits have some strengths, but they're either outclassed by stronger fruits or have some weaknesses that hold them back from reaching A tier. If you use these fruits effectively, you can still win fights, but you'll need to put in more effort compared to players using higher tier fruits. Ice. The ice fruit is a step up from C tier options because it has decent damage, crowd control, and range. One of its biggest advantages is that it can freeze enemies, making it useful for stunning opponents and setting up combos. However, its damage isn't as high as some of the better fruits, and it lacks mobility options, which can make it hard to keep up with faster opponents. Ice is a solid pick for players who like to slow down fights and control their opponents, but it's not quite strong enough to compete with A or S tier fruits that have higher damage and better combos. Flame. The flame fruit is a good all-around fruit with strong ranged attacks and burn damage, making it a decent option for mid-range combat. Its damage over time effect makes it better than lower tier fruits, and it has some good offensive potential. However, its moves are predictable, and it doesn't have the best close-range abilities, making it easy to counter if an enemy gets too close. While flame is not bad, it's also not exceptional. It gets outclassed by higher tier fruits like light or dark, which offer better speed, versatility, or combo potential. Dark. The dark fruit is another elemental fruit that has some good abilities, but it doesn't quite reach A tier because of its flaws. It has solid crowd control, and its attacks can pull enemies in, making it good for setting up combos. However, it lacks high burst damage, meaning you'll need to hit multiple attacks to deal the same amount of damage that an A or S tier fruit can do in just one move. Dark is a great fruit for trapping enemies, but its low damage output holds it back from being top tier. If you like fruits that help control fights, it's a solid choice, but you'll struggle against players who use fruits with higher burst damage or mobility. Why these fruits are B tier? They have good damage, but aren't game-breaking. These fruits can deal solid damage, but they don't have insane burst potential. They lack key strengths that higher tier fruits have, whether it's mobility, combo potential, or versatility. These fruits fall short in some way. They require more effort to be effective. You can win fights with these, but higher tier fruits make winning easier. B tier fruits are good picks that can perform well in the right hands, but if you get the chance to upgrade to an A or S tier fruit, you should take it. A tier, strong and reliable fruits. A tier fruits are some of the best in meme fruits, offering great damage, versatility, and utility. While they may not be as overpowered as S tier fruits, they are still highly effective in combat. These fruits can dominate fights when used correctly and only have minor weaknesses that keep them from reaching the top tier. If you get an A tier fruit, you're in a great spot, and with skill, you can compete against any opponent. Dough. The dough fruit is one of the strongest fruits in the game, with powerful melee attacks and great combo potential. Its abilities let you trap enemies and deal high amounts of damage, making it one of the best fruits for aggressive players. The hitboxes on its attacks are large, making it easier to land hits, and it has great mobility for both offense and defense. The only reason Dough isn't an S tier is that it requires skill to use properly. If you don't know how to combo with it, you won't be able to maximize its damage output. However, once you learn how to use it effectively, Dough can be devastating in fights. Floppa. The Floppa fruit is a powerful and well-balanced fruit that has strong ranged attacks, good area control, and solid mobility. It allows players to keep their distance while dealing heavy damage, making it great for zoning enemies. The fruit's abilities have decent speed, and the damage is high enough to make it a serious threat in battle. The main drawback is that Floppa lacks true crowd control, meaning it's harder to set up long combos. Still, it has enough raw power and versatility to be considered one of the best fruits in the game. Popcat. The Popcat fruit is both hilarious and extremely effective. While it may seem like a joke fruit, it has great utility and damage output. Its abilities allow for quick burst damage, and it has solid mobility, making it a strong choice for both defensive and offensive playstyles. Popcat's only real weakness is that it doesn't have as many high damage combos as S-tier fruits. However, its ease of use, mobility, and strong abilities make it one of the best fruits to use in meme fruits. Why these fruits are A-tier high damage output. These fruits can deal a lot of damage and are highly effective in fights. Good versatility. They have strong offensive and defensive abilities, making them useful in various situations. Slightly outclassed by S-tier fruits, while powerful, they are still not as broken as the absolute best fruits. If you get an A-tier fruit, you're in a great position. While they may not be as overpowered as S-tier, they're still among the best choices in the game. S-tier. The best fruits in meme fruits. S-tier fruits are the strongest and most overpowered in the game. These fruits have insane damage, incredible mobility, and top-tier abilities that make them dominant in any fight. If you have an S-tier fruit, you're at a huge advantage, and with proper use, you can easily outclass lower-tier fruits. These are the fruits that every player wants, and if you get one, you should definitely stick with it. Light. The light fruit is one of the fastest and most powerful fruits in meme fruits. Its high-speed attacks and mobility make it an absolute nightmare to fight against. Light users can outrun and outmaneuver most opponents, allowing them to control the pace of battle. Its attacks deal great damage, and the precision of its moves makes it hard to counter. Light is an excellent fruit for both offensive and defensive playstyles, which is why it deserves a spot in S-tier. Rock. It may sound simple, but Rock is one of the strongest fruits in the game. This fruit has insane burst damage, allowing users to end fights quickly if they land their attacks. While it lacks mobility, its sheer power and durability make up for it. Rock users can tank hits and dish out even more damage in return, making them incredibly dangerous. Its only weakness is its lack of speed, but with the right strategy, Rock can completely dominate fights. Water. The water fruit is another top-tier pick, offering a great mix of offense and defense. It has strong area of effect attacks, allowing users to control space and keep enemies at a distance. Water also provides good mobility, making it difficult to pin down a skilled user. One of its biggest advantages is that it has great survivability, allowing users to stay in fights longer than most other fruits. This makes water an amazing pick for players who want a fruit that can both deal heavy damage and stay alive in tough fights. Why these fruits are S-tier best damage output in the game. These fruits deal massive damage and can easily wipe out enemies. Strong mobility and utility. They provide speed, control, or survivability, making them incredibly versatile. Extremely difficult to counter. If you're using an S-tier fruit, you're at a huge advantage over lower-tier fruits. If you have an S-tier fruit, you're in the best possible position to dominate fights. These fruits are the top choices in meme fruits, and if you're lucky enough to get one, you should definitely hold on to it.